How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the 5th episode of Subscriber Showdown. I'm trying my hardest to bring these more often, hence the quick turnaround between episode 4 and episode 5. If you haven't watched one of these before, I basically go through your guys' cars that you've sent in to me, tell you all about the cars, tell you what I think about them, and then end up saying what I think you should do in the future on them. As you may know, there is a poll on the top right hand side of the screen where you can vote for your favourite car in this episode. And in the last episode, Laurent or Lawrence won with his Vauxhall Corsa SRI with the VXR badge that kind of caused a bit of a stir in the comments. But for his troubles, winning 40% at the poll, he wins one of these window stickers for his car. So congratulations to him, and I know he's actually selling his Corsa, so that won't go in the Corsa, will it? If you want to enter your car into this show, look at the description. I've left a link to a Google Docs folder which would basically explain exactly how to do it, including kind of giving you an example of the type of pictures I'd like to see and what I'd like to see in the email to me. Everything for entry is explained down below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So first up we have Josh's dad's supercharged Vauxhall VX220, which he takes to the track. He bought the car about 8 years ago for £9,000. The car's now worth around about £16,000, which is not bad in my books. When he bought the car, it was bog standard, nothing done to it, and when he started tracking it, he realised he needed to do a bunch of mods to it to make sure that it was as useful as possible when he took it out on track. Of course, out of the factory, the car's putting out 150 brake horsepower, which is not that much, but when you think about how light the car is, weighing less than a ton, it will definitely go. But clearly not enough for Josh's dad, as he decided to put a supercharger on it, taking that power right up to 256 brake horsepower on the dyno. It also has a 0 to 60 of 4 seconds. It's a Vauxhall and it's doing 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. That is sick. The modifications that have been done to the car other than the supercharger include CL brake pads and Gaz shocks, as well as ATS wheels, bucket seats and race harnesses, and Toyo tyres. So far the car's given them no trouble at all, which is good to hear, other than the fact that it sometimes gets left sitting for quite some time, and when it does, it drains the battery. But that's kind of a normal thing, I guess, for older cars at this point. Now my opinion on the car is that clearly it's very cool. The VX220, if I'm not mistaken, was built by Lotus, and it's one of the only cars that actually has a Lotus engine in it, which is really cool. For example, if you bought an Elise, you'd get a Rover or a Toyota engine if you got the same series, but this has a nice Lotus engine in it for some reason. And by Lotus engine, I actually mean a GM engine, but it was kind of all part of a big deal that they had going on. So yes, at least it was a Lotus helped engine. And you may know, if you follow me on Instagram at CarsWithJB, by the way, go do it right now, that I really like Lotus. So I definitely like the VX220. Now, other than the alloys, I can't really comment too much on the exterior of the car being modified. So yes, those are very nice alloys. They do look good. Other things I do to the exterior of the car is I would maybe consider getting the Exige hardtop roof. It's not the exact Exige one, but you can actually get these VX220 Exige style hardtop roofs, and that would look really nice on the car, I think. Although at the same time it would increase the weight, so maybe not as good on track. Also, on top of that, thinking about this as a track car, I'd maybe consider a splitter and side skirts and a rear diffuser, just to kind of see how that would affect the car. Obviously don't do it for the sake of making it look good. Do it if it's going to help the car stick to the track better. And also, as you say, the car has gone up quite a lot in value, which is really cool. So maybe don't go too ham on the exterior, and also make sure that you keep a hold of all of the parts of the car that are original so you can shove them back on and sell it on in the future. But yes, in my opinion, a very cool car. Great to see that these kinds of cars are getting sent into the show. Thank you very much, Joshua, for entering. Next up, we have David's 2-litre Ford Focus Z-Tech from 2013. He's owned the car for over a year and it's done him very well in that time. Nothing has gone wrong. On top of that as well, it's a diesel, so he's going to be getting good fuel economy out of it, and we love to see that. But more interestingly, he has done a whole bunch of mods on it, which I will tell you about right now. Visually, he's tinted the front lights, put a sun strip on, got the reds changed to the English style because he likes the look. Engine modifications include a stage 2 remap, a cold air intake by K&N, a sports exhaust, as well as an upgraded intercooler. He's more recently tinted the backlights to go with the front ones and added a subwoofer. And when I said that car was going to be economical, even with the stage 2 remap, he's getting 53 miles per gallon with his foot down, which is very decent. He says that because of the reliability, he doesn't mind the fact that it's got 120,000 miles on the clock, and he really doubts he'll ever sell it because it's just treated him so well. Alright, so I really like what David's done to his car here. These alloys look really nice too, and that subwoofer, let's just take a moment. That is absolutely massive. I love how you've just forgotten entirely about boot space and just shoved a huge woofer in the back, so fair play to you there. What I would do to this car is I'd look at those alloys first and foremost. I'd definitely make them fully black rather than the kind of almost black that they are at the moment, like carbon coloured or whatever. And you've got a bit of chrome around the car as well that deserves to be black too, because you've got blacked out tinted lights. The car is black. The windows look tinted out at the back as well. Why not just smash the whole car in, murdered look? I think that'll look really good. And on top of that as well, a little bit of a drop would be quite nice too. So to drop the car down a tiny bit, and I think it would look that little bit more aggressive. On the interior, I'd maybe consider getting the seats out of the Ford Focus RS or the ST, because I think that would look quite nice. And also it'd help you feel a lot more comfortable in the car when you're turning corners quickly, etc. And one of my favorite things to do, a load of that dashboard has that kind of sketchy looking, not aluminium, plastic stuff, carbon fiber. 100%. Wrap that carbon fiber, it'll look a lot better. Anyway, a huge thank you to Dave for entering. Really like the Focus, and we'll get on to the next one. Next up, we have a car after my own heart. It is James's 1.8 Laguna Blue Unos Roadster S Special from 1994. Now, before I even begin, let's just take a moment to look at that color. I really stress the Laguna Blue because that looks really, really good on the car. I definitely like my MX-5 in British Racing Green, and green is one of my favorite colors for cars, but you can't deny that this blue really does bang. He's owned the car for 3 years, but hasn't done too much to it. Let's just have a look at what he has done so far. He's got Rotogrid V 15x7 ET20 wheels, HSD coilovers, a Cobalt exhaust system with a D-cat, and the headlights have been changed from the stock ones as he couldn't see anything at night, and now has halo lights with side tinted headlights. Now, I must say, he's absolutely correct there. Simply cannot see at night in the MX-5. It is so much more dangerous, and I've definitely got to change those headlights as soon as possible. And I really like the halo ones as well, because circular headlights, really nice to have some nice circular beams. In the future, he wants to turbocharge it and put a ducktail spoiler on it. Both very fair things that I think are well worth doing. Now, you would suggest that I'm quite biased having a Unos Roadster in here, considering that I am actually the owner of a Mazda MX-5, but as you may know, I wasn't an MX-5 fan before I actually bought one. I wanted a Mark 1 TT over the MX-5, but now that I've had the chance to kind of drive one and have one and own one, yeah, I do like them. And James is incredibly clean. I really like that classic sticker along the side with the Unos on it. That looks really good to me. Also, the wheels, really nice. I was thinking about going for that style of wheel on the MX-5, but I might go for a different set. That's a nice clean interior that I see there, nice steering wheel, and I also like that he's got one of these bad boys sitting there on top of the dashboard. Good to see it's got a hardtop roof as well, and I also very much like the tyre writing too. It makes the whole thing feel that little bit more racy. Now yes, obviously I'm a fan, it is a very good looking MX-5, but thinking about it from my perspective, what would I do next on it? I said the tyre things made it look a bit racy. If you were thinking about ever going down that route, then I would definitely suggest going for the bucket seats and the roll bar as I've just done, as well as the harnesses. I really feel like it massively upgrades the interior of the car. It went from looking like this kind of old car that anyone could drive to being this much more fit for purpose machine. One thing that I'm considering, and you might want to consider too, is getting a sticker for the front plate rather than having the little one. Even though I quite like your little one there, maybe a sticker would look a bit better. I'm thinking about it for mine. Might be wrong. But outside of that, I wouldn't want to spoil it. It's a very clean look, and I don't think it needs that much done to it. So a massive thank you to James for entering onto the next one. Next up, we have a car with a huge number of modifications to it, and the first of its type to ever turn up in Subscriber Showdown. It is Simon's 2008 Saab 93 Aero V6 with the 2.8 litre turbocharged engine. And on top of that, it's the convertible. Now, it's currently running stock power, but I wanted to run through the specs with you. It does 155 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds, has 255 brake horsepower, and 258 feet-pounds of torque. Thinking of all of those specs, Simon is 21 years old. That's sick! At 21 years old, I was driving a VW Polo 9N with 54 brake horsepower. I've said a million times in all of my videos. Simon is out here with almost 5 times the amount of power he has in his car at 21 than and it's almost double what I have in my MX-5 now at 24 years old, so that's sick. He's owned the car for around about a year, and the only problem he's had has been with the thermostat causing the car to overheat. But in terms of modifications, he's done so much to the car. The mods he's most proud of are the Maxton Design rear diffuser finished with carbon effect, and the 25mm rear wheel spacers, and the soon-to-be completed Kenwood wireless Apple CarPlay head unit, which is pretty cool. But the rest of the mods, and be ready for this, there's quite a few, include DVLA private registration, 4D plates, Saab ready for takeoff front and rear number plates around, grills resprayed in anthracite grey to match the Turbo X style, boot decor strip also resprayed for the same reason, 17-inch Saab anthracite grey Aero 2.0T wheels, Avon ZV7 tyres, a rear D badge, Saab prancing horse moose crest on the front wings, Saab Griffin embroidered front headrests, transmission surround trim wrapped in gloss carbon fibre, which I love to see, Swedish flag on the front grille as well as on the gear surround trim, gloss yellow painted brake calipers, and finally a rear backup camera. I am all out of modifications. Now clearly he's done an incredible job going through and doing all of these individual modifications over the last year of owning the car. And also the Saab is that little bit rarer than some of the other cars that get sent into subscriber Showdown, so I like to see them. But in terms of what I do to the car, step one, coilovers. I don't know how well the car handles at the moment, but I feel like a good set of coilovers will help with that sleeper vibe that the car's already giving off. It'll help with the cornering and help with the car just going flatter, and it just, yeah, it looks like it would be really beneficial. Also, you could drop it that little bit lower as well, and that would just make it feel like something had been done to it, but not too much had been done to it. It's a very basic one, but some halos front and rear might not go amiss as well. And once you've got that whole head unit in there, maybe a nice set of speakers in there. I don't know what they're like at the moment, but a good set of speakers and a subwoofer would definitely be quite cool in it. It is like a proper waftmobile, especially for a 21-year-old, so massive thank you to Simon for entering. You have very much done well there. The final car in this video I really wanted to talk about, just simply because I really like the story behind it. It's nothing like any of the other cars in this video. It's not got massive mods on it, but I just thought when I get a nice long email with a lot of story and a lot of history of the car, I like it. And I like it even more when it's a VW Polo 9N, which clearly is biased, but let's do it. This is Sophie's 1.4 TDI Polo 9N. And she's also named the car as well. It's called Marco, and I get that, like Marco Polo, but also my best mate is called Marco, and his first car was a Polo, also in silver, also a 9N. That's why I'm particularly biased towards this one. Now I haven't got any mods to really talk to you about, but I can tell you about the story of the car. So Sophie is the third owner. The original owner was an old couple who passed it on to their grandson, who then sold it to a family man, and then she bought it from him. When she bought the car, it had 88,000 miles on it and now has 105,000 miles. She hasn't done any mods on it simply because she doesn't know where to start and doesn't want to spend massive money on it, but she has replaced the clutch and the brake pedal and got on a fresh gear gauge to be put on in the future. In terms of problems with the car, the back driver's side door doesn't lock with the central locking, so you have to actually push the nub in yourself. The seats are old and worn, hence the ugly blue seat covers, and her dog chewed the upper window wiper control arm, so it's super uncomfortable to touch when you're driving. The bodywork and paint aren't very good, and she let her friend drive in it one day and she reversed it into a wall and cracked the back bumper. The paint is flaking off on the bonnet, especially where a bird did a massive poo on it. The alloys are a bit gross. She actually broke the radio by pouring iced tea into it by accident, but then fixed it. But aside from those negatives, there are a lot of positives, mostly being the fact that it's super cheap. She paid £950 for it. A full tank is £40 and can get around 400 miles, give or take. And one thing that I definitely can relate to, the compartments. There is so much storage space in a 9N. In her opinion, it is, yes, small, but it's also fun and full of character, and that's why she loves the car. Apparently she's planning to sell the car this year after doing a few small modifications to it to get it back to a decent shape. But I would suggest that Sophie doesn't sell the car and instead goes and has a look at the playlist Pointless Polo Project, which should be up on this side of the screen right now, which I'm sure she has already, but there are so many easy, cheap mods because she doesn't want to spend lots of money on the car that she could do. Rubbing strips color-coded, 100%. GTI seats have got to happen too, and they're much cheaper to do in the 5-door version of the Polo as well. The self-fabricated GTI front grille, also gotta happen. Maybe don't try vinyl wrapping the roof though. And yes, I am basically just promoting my own videos at this point, but I really do like the Polo, and I do think that there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do to it, so don't give up on it just yet and really give it some time and attention, and you can get something that's quite nice out of it. I've become very attached to my Polo and I don't think I'll be letting it go anytime soon. In fact, I have a whole bunch of ideas for future projects in the car, so stay tuned for those. Thank you very much to Sophie for entering. Really appreciate you sending in your car and giving me such a long email with a full story in it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much to everyone for entering their cars. I'm still sifting through all of the entries that I've had since the last video, and yes, I really want to get through all of you and put you all into videos. If you haven't entered your car yet, please do remember, link down below to see exactly how to do it. And if you do enter, you might be in a chance to get one of these, which is always good. If you're not following me already, go follow me on Instagram because I'm trying to get to 3,000 followers this year and I really need your support to do that. You're missing out on daily Instagram content. I'm talking daily pictures from me, so get over there and give it a follow. As always, a massive thank you to the patrons who should be on screen right now. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Listen.